there's not Try. There he is. You know.
Sometimes you get out of practice. It's okay.
Yeah, well, I forgot to at everyone in the Discord, so I had to get over there and thank Henry Clark for doing it for me by using the animated GIF of from Leon the Professional of what's his face, like yelling everyone.
I've still never seen that movie.
Yeah, your audio's a little low, but I'll crank you up a little bit. Hopefully, I mean maybe you're just talking quiet.
I am on the right mic, right? Yeah, I am.
Are you? Well, are you using that new mic? You got that?
Oh, the
Tascam?
Tascam? No. Although, so I've got. Can you see this post-it note? I don't know. It's probably very unclear.
It's unclear.
It's unclear. Well, I'm drawing up some plans. So I ordered. Should come tomorrow. Actually, I ordered.
Unless it gets delayed by the snowstorm. That's what we're having right now.
Well, it's very cold here, but it's not supposed to snow.
Okay.
But anyway, I ordered like a clamp and rail system for like making like your own like slide out keyboard tray.
Oh, but I'm not, okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to use it for a keyboard, but it's like, it's just got like 2 rails with a clamp on that you can clamp to your desk. Right.
Okay.
And I am going to build some kind of structure to be able to put to mount the new Tascam at the right like angle for like pointing toward my mouth. And I also want to move this microphone, this one that I use through the mixer for streams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that probably didn't show up on. It showed up maybe a teensy bit on camera.
The RE20.
The RE20. And I want to be able to have it also on that structure. And then instead of pointing down, it'll be pointing up. And it would be basically the same distance from my mouth that it is. Now, and that way, like the Tascam for like recording like voiceover stuff will just be in a really consistent location. I won't have to like, I don't really have room for like a swing arm. And I don't really love this swing arm for the RE20 that much either. I don't like it, just like it kind of rubs against the cables on the back of my monitor and stuff. And
so what are you going to do with the swing arm, with the Rode?
I don't know. I thought about maybe, once in a blue moon, I call into your stream, like if I'm at my parents' house or something, I could maybe set up a mic there with that mixer you gave me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I could use, I don't know. But like the swing arm itself is fine, but just the way I have my monitor set up on the desk, there's just like no good way to handle it really.
Yeah. So
I kind of thought putting it under the desk would be kind of awesome, and I can just like slide that in and out because you know me, I use my keyboard on my lap. Mm-hmm. And I sit far enough back from the desk where you could have this structure on it and it wouldn't be in the way of my legs at all. So I'm going to make like a little slide out from under the desk, like little audio thinger. Like just have to have some like it'll be almost like a square wave pattern, like just go like attach to the thing, and it's gonna like go down. They'll have a little platform for the zoom, right? And it's gonna go up and over to have a little thing to dangle the RE20 from. It'll make more sense when I can show pictures of it, I guess.
Well, I look forward to seeing how that comes out.
Yeah.
I was messing around with some stuff back at the table there to like mount my camera if I wanted to, because I was thinking about like doing more stuff just over there, just some casual videos, like maybe like I kind of want to bring back the video logs that I did a few years back, in the way that like really helped me just speak off the cuff better.
Yeah.
So I want to bring that back, and I'm just going to do like random things over there, but I don't want it to be like a whole bunch of setup and moving things around every time. So, thanks for all the belated birthday wishes. I guess that
Well, all of us want to know. I mean, even I haven't really heard details. I mean, you mentioned briefly about what happened with the Coury and the games we played, right? You mentioned it.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it, but you didn't say much about it. I feel like we want more deep.
Because we didn't finish it that day. We got pretty close.
So you actually got them to stick around.
Yeah, my daughter not so much.
She just like wandered off.
Well, she just I think that it stressed her out, and she just kind of checked out after a little bit. But it went pretty well. I think that everybody had a good time, and half the people survived. There's a couple of moments that, in our game, because everybody can live. Apparently, it's possible they have everybody live, including the family that you're having a run in with.
Right.
But there's one part where, in our game, the mom died, and she got a shotgun blast to the face.
Yeah.
And it just lingered on her blown open face for a really long time. And my wife was like, oh my God, telling my son, don't look at that. Don't look. Like that. She was having a good time, but I feel like that was just too much.
Well, did your wife at least think it was an entertaining story?
Yes. So
well, I mean, was she able
my
to?
wife was controlling
control
what we
the
thought
characters?
was the best character.
Okay. Huh?
I got to tell you about this because it's really funny.
Okay.
My wife was controlling who we thought was the best character, Caitlin.
Which one was she?
I don't know. She's the one that was give me the shotgun. Is really good with knew how to use the shotgun really well. The Asian girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So she made it through most of the game without even a scratch, right? And then there's one part where she's her and Dylan.
Yeah, in the dump, right?
Well, no, this is after that.
Okay.
So that happens, and my son was controlling Dylan in that part, and they were in the cabin at the very end when the one guy was chasing after both of them, right? Yeah. And the other two girls, Abigail and Emma, were in another room, and they had one round, one silver bullet, and they roll it out from under the door, the door, and she picked it up. And my son's do you want me to take over? If you have to shoot right here, because my wife was just struggling with the camera, it never used a dual analog stick. And,
sure.
And and my son was do you want me to play? Because he's I play Fortnite all the time. I can shoot. And she's okay, here. And anyways, it goes in this one part where he loads up the silver bullet and has one shot, right? Mm-hmm. And it goes right in. It goes into slow motion, right? And he's this, and he tenses up and panics, and he was shoots straight down at the ground, straight down at the ground, and Caitlin just gets mauled and is just a crumpled heap of bones. Mush by the end. Well, just not sticking out, but she just her insides are jelly after how much she got smacked around.
Oh my gosh.
And he felt bad about it for 2 days. He was Because he's like, I thought it was going to be like, I was like so confident about it, but it was like literally like the camera like helped. Like I put on all the accessibility options where you have like a ton of time to make decisions, and it like basically guided his aim. All he had to do was just like kind of adjust it a little bit and do it. But instead he goes and like shoots like straight down at the ground. And he's like, he couldn't sleep that night.
Oh my God.
And he was just like like it felt so bad about it.
Oh no. The part with Caitlin and Dylan in the garbage dump, like when he's like up in the crane.
Yeah.
Like in our game, he was like infected at that point. And getting pretty close to turning.
So in our game, like we like chainsawed his hand off.
Oh, I can't remember. I think that was the main difference. I think it was my call to not do it, which was obviously a bad call.
Well,
but I think I was like, I was like, no, there's gotta be another way. There's gotta be another way.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking, oh, it's already going to spread too far. It's not going to help. Right? I think that's what I was thinking. Anyway, so he was pretty close to turning. So like things were pretty tense as it was.
Yeah.
And then like, I can't remember how it played out, but like I made a big fumble when he was in the crane. And it ended up being okay. And then like the way that the car drops like so close to Caitlin, it's in the games we played. What was it?
I should go back and check that out.
Or no, it was probably 2022.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I included that moment at the end of the segment of that because it was pretty good. I need to see it again to remember exactly how it played out, but it was pretty good. But anyway, I mean, it sounds like it was generally a success. Like, they didn't like give up.
I mean, my daughter gave up like pretty early, but she was just like, she's all cocky about it at first, and then it's like she starts to get stressed out, and then she's just kind of like, looking at her phone half the time.
But
I mean,
she stayed in the room, right? She stayed in the room.
But she didn't stay in for the second night so we didn't finish it that first night. So we let it sit for a little while, and then we didn't finish until like after I finished my segments of the video for the games we played episode. So I guess we played it on was it the day before New Year's Eve? So on the 30th. Is when we played like the last 3 chapters, because that we were gonna stick it out, but there's that one chapter with that's like the flashback, and it goes on for so long. Where what's her face? I can't think of her name, but she has like the eye patch. She shows up with the eye patch.
Yeah.
But she does like tells like does the flashback. Giving the like what's happened in the month, 2 months since the last time this happened, or since the intro of the game, I guess. Right. And it just goes on for so long. Anyways, but thank you for all the birthday wishes. Sorry we were a little bit late getting started. It took me so long to. It took me longer, I'd like to admit, to like try to figure out how to do like the thumbnail, like do like the gradient. And I thought I knew how to do it, or they changed it or something, and I just couldn't get what I've done before to work. So I ended up like making this like makeshift junk, and I was like, oh my God, it's like Try's gonna be calling, and it's like 7:54.
I don't know if it's like the way to do it, because like I get so used to like some of these programs I've been using forever, like Photoshop and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm still like mostly using it the same way I was using it in like 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've just been using it for so long, and like I probably don't use like a lot of the new features as much as I could, just because I know how it worked in the old days, and I just keep doing stuff the old way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I use I think it's called, I don't remember what it's called.
Well, it's yeah. I mean,
There's that function where you like click the button and everything turns red, right?
yes.
Is that what? Okay. And then you use black to white and then click it off and it becomes a selection, a gradient selection.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't remember how to do
That's
it, but
how
I figured out a way to do it to get it to get where I am where I got it to, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I thought I'd play some of that GTA 3 thanks to Shadow Mask. I don't know if Shadow Mask is in the chat yet, but sent me over the .cdi file for this, and I thought we'd just give it a little, just horse around in it a little bit, and then I'll play some of the Ninja Gaiden Trilogy, which
to be clear, you're talking about the new Infidelity port. Right,
which is
I saw Michael B. the Game Genie was like, "Oh, that's a crime against humanity. Why not just play the NES versions?" I'm like, "So it's the new fan port."
Yes, it's like what it should have been all along, which is basically just SNES ports of the NES games.
Well, I mean, that kind of is what Ninja Gaiden Trilogy is. Like, it basically looks,
but it's like worse in almost every way.
Right. So it was weird at the time that it was just like the NES games, and then but worse. But yeah, so it's like it's what those should have been. Not that I've played them, but we know how good Infidelity's work tends to be on those NES to SNES ports. So I believe in
it. But there is quite a few super chats.
Yeah, I'll catch up on that real quick. Robbie Huang was asking, does anyone know what music plays when a person does the super chat? That's just a little bit of just a little snippet of the MLiG theme.
Yeah, which I think that version is like Game Dave made that.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. Anyway, so yeah, let me catch up on the super chats since we've been chatting about the Coury and stuff. There was a notification that Enchilada Backloggery has been a member for 14 months in a row. Thank you. Saying, what a great year in video you gentlemen did. Hopefully 2025 will still be the year of the video game.
Year of the video game.
Let's get all those pledges beat. Well, and Enchilada was the one who suggested we stream on the Backloggery the Satellaview Zelda, which was my pick for new to me game of the year. So much thanks to him. And also $2 super chat from Nemo Moshiri saying Happy New Year. Wishing you two a great year. Happy face.
Thank you. And same to you.
$9.99 super chat from Matthew McFetters. Thank you. Saying happy belated birthday, Coury. Here's to a wonderful 2025 for MLiG and everyone watching. Everyone, all of y'all.
Everyone's
gonna have a wonderful 2025.
Hopefully.
And then Nana Cheesecake has been a member 25 months in a row. Thank you. Saying New Year, same cheesecake. I hope the gaming is just as awesome this year, if not more awesome than the last. Thank you.
Heck yeah.
And also $10 super chat from Local S'mores Pop-Tart, who tuned in periodically while I was building a Lego piranha plant on our Discord channel. Saying, good evening, MLiG crew. I want to thank Coury for showing off Devil Blade Reboot in the latest video. I absolutely love it, even if I can only beat it on easy.
It's only
that
way I can
OST
beat it, so I get
is just incredible.
I'm an ambitious girl. Small time.
So I don't know GTA 3 very well, but I mean this.
Have you heard anything about this port at all?
Not a lot of specifics, but I mean, from what I understand, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So MVG did a pretty great video on it. it's just like very interesting, like the different kind of corners they had to cut by like lowering the texture quality and stuff like that. But overall, like it runs pretty great. And some would say that it's like actually like better than.
Blur.
What's that?
It's even got that weird PS2 blur, although it looks a little strange.
I think it's just because it's so clear.
Maybe.
Like it's the ghosting of it. It's just because it's, if you were playing it on a CRT.
Is that only a cutscene thing, or is it in gameplay?
I think it's just in the cutscenes. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's wrong. I've not played GTA 3 in a very long time. But a lot of people would say that this is probably better than the definitive edition ports that have been done.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
And it's funny because this is only like an alpha.
You know, the way like the trails are like almost like a reddish color, like makes me think of like CRT phosphor decay almost.
Yes. Yeah.
It does look strange, but I just don't know that much about how it compares to the original game.
I've heard the definitive edition is fixed relatively, but there's still a lot of problems with it. Okay,
right.
So can I turn off trails in the settings? I didn't see that before, so.
They are a little distracting, but I understand why they're there.
Yeah, authenticity.
Zane's dad has been a member for 47 months in a row.
Dang.
Thank you. Saying, try Zane beat Super Bunny Man this evening by himself. Level 50 is indeed the last level. Also, happy birthday, Coury.
Thank you.
Dang, tell Zane I am very proud. He's a master. I am in awe because that game is hard enough two-player where you can fly. Single player seems really hard to me. That's amazing.
Alright, so can I... If I go in it's a graphics option, trails, okay.
So, speaking of GTA, in addition to, as I said I would do in 2025, beat Blinks the Time Sweeper.
How is that speaking of GTA?
I'll get to it.
All right.
I beat Blinks, which maybe I'll say more later. But then I figured while my brain was still in like horizontal inversion mode, I should do Jack 2.
Oh.
So I've been playing Jack 2 and I think I'm close to the end. Boy, let me tell you, not great. as you would expect, but still not great.
Oh, gee. Well, that didn't go very good. Mission Fishing mailed. Whoops. It's going the wrong way. Leave it to me to mess up the first mission in GTA 3. I'm used to those horse controls, I guess, from Red Dead Redemption 2, which I thought I was at the end of, but I mean, those have played it. What you think is the end is not the end.
Oh, you finished Red Dead 2?
No, I thought I was at the end, but I still
they Okami. They didn't pull an Okami.
I mean, they do something similar to what happens when you beat the first one, but that's like after the credits in the first one. Did you play the first one?
Yeah, yeah. I really liked it.
Okay, so you know that like after you finish it, you like play as Jack like years later.
Oh yeah, I forgot. But yeah. And you can like continue to do all the side quests and stuff, right?
Yes. Well, they do that. They do something similar to that here, but it's
Still part of the story.
yes. It's pretty cool. Like I thought that it was like it feels like it's going to connect to the first one very well. I'm very curious to see like where it ends.
But anyway, yeah, you know, I was actually talking to John the other day because you know I'd started Jack 2, and man, like the open world in that game is like it is shocking the extent to which there is just no reason, no justification for it. Like there's just no reason for, like, every once in a while there's like a mission that takes place on the overworld, but they're always bad. And like there's nothing to do in the overworld other than just like, I don't know, run over people, have the authorities chase you.
Yeah.
And like have a really long trek to the next mission quest giver. Right? Like
Yeah.
there's just like it, and I was like, you know, man, is GTA 3 like this? Like the PS2 GTA? He said that the open worlds in these games are a lot more purposeful.
Oh yeah. And
But
you know, like in this one,
it's
it's I don't know. Like they were doing a lot of different stuff with this one, kind of figuring it out with this one.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But there's still a lot of stuff. Like if you get into like every kind of vehicle you can get in, like if you get in a police car or you can get into like a ambulance, you can run missions like as in those cars. Like you can do like ambulance pickups or you can do taxi driving and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff to do that's not necessary.
Right. So I mean, sure, it's certainly, and even with Jack 2, like I mean, the technology to, you know, pull off as many NPCs as they've got running around the city and stuff, like, you know, I'm sure it was like, it was probably not the game Naughty Dog wanted to make, but they still probably served to increase their technical ability.
Yes,
I'm sure. Right. So, you know, it's not completely a waste in that regard, but, you know, it just, there's no way that was the game they wanted, you know?
Yes. Well, yeah, and I think that they were just trying to figure it out. They were trying to figure out how do we make this work, and, you know, they did figure it out. But I guess they never really went back to, I don't know what the third game's like, if it has much of an open world. In the same
my impression is it's more of a desert, which sounds considerably less annoying because like navigating the tight streets is a bit of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
I see that Ludicrous Fool is saying that Jack 2's development story is quite an interesting one, if Urban Legend is any indication. I mean, I don't know if any of those guys would ever like go on record and say what happened, but I don't really know any of the stories or even any of the legends, but I mean, it just seems to me that like that is similar as it is to GTA. Like it really seems to me that just sounds like a businessman told them you need to make this game.
They were just there.
Like
yeah.
It just reeks of trend chasing really badly.
Yeah.
But
I know that Shadow Mask is saying that he wasn't getting any stutters on the OD, so I'm using a mode, but I am playing off an SD card because I don't want to I didn't want to take my whole Dreamcast apart to put it on the SSD. On the SSD, it's probably a lot better, but I'm playing it off an SD card. So that might have something to do with that.
To be clear, like I am not completely, unfamiliar with GTA. I mean, a friend had it back in the day, like almost every other human, he loved it. And I had my hands on the controller at some point at his house, but I didn't even know for a long time that there were missions and a story, because everyone seemed to treat GTA as a sandbox game.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing. I mean, I never played through the entire story in this, and maybe I should sometime just to see what it's like, but really, I just try to get 5 stars and that's it.
And see, that is so uninteresting to me, though. I have no, it's just
I get that, but the thing that was exciting to me is how crazy the cops get, and they're just fly, it's like an open world driver survival mode where the cars are just flipping all over the place, just going
Driver
crazy.
Does it better, doesn't it?
It's very similar to how driver survival mode is, where the cops are just so hell-bent on getting you that they have zero regard for themselves or anybody around them, and they just go completely nuts.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, oh wow, look at this crazy, super illegal stuff I can do in a video game, haha, and then it's okay, I'm over it. Whereas it seemed like most of the gaming community didn't get over it, and it's the biggest thing ever, right? And
well,
to me that was interesting for about 4 minutes, and I have never had a desire to really play a GTA game. Now, I liked Red Dead Redemption, which I think is a similar structure,
and 2 is
but the
actually
setting
a
is
lot
so much more.
It's a lot. You can't just go crazy and kill everybody. There are repercussions to it, and you do have. Just if you die, it doesn't just wipe everything away. You have a bounty on you for that area, and you got to go and either pay it or people just come after you like crazy all the time. So that's the one thing I feel about Red Dead Redemption 2 is that it makes you kind of just want to follow the rules as best as you can. Although things just happen for no reason. Especially if you're riding your horse at night, and there's been times where I've just rammed into people and I didn't even see them fast enough, and then of course they just open fire, and then somebody around me sees it happening, and then they go and tell the cops or tell the authorities, and
yeah, I mean, so I don't know, I had very little interest. I mean, Red Dead Redemption worked. At least the first one worked for me, because I liked the setting, right?
Yeah.
Cities are as open world cities in particular. That's a tough sell for me. I feel like they just never look interesting. There's never
I'm
cool
definitely more
landmarks.
Playing 5.
It's just building after building after building of just gray asphalt. It's not an appealing setting to me generally. I can play it every now and then, but it's just GTA is just never. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm missing out on something because of how hyped everyone gets for them, but it's just never appealed to me. I've never had that much interest.
Oh, I'm supposed to. That's right. I totally missed what I was supposed to do. This guy take his car.
Yeah,
and
Jack too. I've just kind of been hitting it hard these past several days. I more or less took the rest of the week off after finishing the video, and finished Blinks, played a bunch of Jak 2. I got Fantasian for Christmas, and before I delved into the games we played, I played about 11 hours of it, and it's awesome. So I really want to get back to it. But I really had it in my head like I should play Jak 2 while Blinks. I've like already got like my brain is in like I've been playing a little Final Fantasy 14 before bed. That is a frequent before bed activity for me, right? And even in that, like Blinks like his temporarily, I hope, broken by like my horizontal non-inversion that I became used to, right? So I was like, I need to get Jak 2 done while I'm still thinking this way. There was $5 super chat. Sorry, this was 12 minutes ago. We got rambly. Saying from Unkono, saying it sucks. There's no good way to play Game Boy, GBA, and GBC games on the TV without paying a bunch of money. GameCube player, obviously best. I assume you mean playing the actual cartridges. I mean, my personal favorite way probably is using the Super Game Boy 2 on the Super NT, because what's funny about that is that it's original hardware, because you're using Super Game Boy is a Game Boy, right? And technically there's actually even fewer stutters. It runs at the correct speed, and there's even fewer stutters, not by a large margin, but there's fewer stutters than doing on original hardware, because the speed more closely matches a Super NT's even 60 hertz than the 60.01 or whatever of a real Super Nintendo. So I think that's really interesting. And of course you can do square pixels with it. I love the Super Game Boy to begin with. But obviously, it's so unfortunate that Super NT isn't sold anymore. Mister is great, but obviously you can't play the cartridges, assuming that's what you were talking about. I actually don't love the Analog Pocket Dock that much. But I think the GBA consolizer is still really good, especially, the 720p is not bad. Although I'm not sure what it costs to get set up with that nowadays, or if the boards are still even made. I'm actually honestly not sure. But especially if you can do a full scale of that to 4K, it looks really good. But yeah, I would say for like regular Game Boy games, overall my favorite is Super NT. The only problem with the Super NT is that there is a bit of audible noise from transferring that Game Boy audio into the Super NT.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what causes it. It's almost like the Super NT is too clear, and it's almost like the basic noise of like the Super Nintendo audio signal makes the Game Boy audio noise kind of blend in. I don't know. I really love that.
See, I only played I guess like I've only been playing Red Dead Redemption. I did dabbled with this. I got it on sale. This game called Terra Memoria. It's billed as a cozy JRPG.
Oh, okay.
It was like $7. It's got kind of a HD 2D look to it.
Okay.
I played it for like an hour. Didn't really grab me. So we'll see.
Yeah. Fantasian is really good.
What's that?
I strongly recommend playing that.
Fantasian?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of am feeling that after I finish Red Dead Redemption. It's I I definitely want to play it sooner rather than later, just because that sounds really nice. And everyone, what actually might be really fun is to play Lost Odyssey and then play that right afterwards. Actually, when I think about it,
Isn't the last story still on your list too?
Last Story is still on my list too. So what if I did that, like the Lost Odyssey, Last Story, and Fantasian trilogy? Wow. I mean, I could play Blue Dragon also.
You could. That sounds ambitious. Ashura was saying, "Hi friends, how is your new year? Love the end of the year video. I'm more interested in how's your new year. Are you doing okay? Out of the hospital and everything?"
I sent him a message a couple of days ago, and it seemed like he's doing better, but he's definitely kicked his butt. He said,
"I'm sure."
There's also you see the Mega X6.
I did. Yes. I just wanted to grab Ashura's comment before I
got it.
Missed it. Yes. 7 from Mega X6. Thank you. Saying enjoyed the end of the year video. My favorite games of 24 were the Famicom Detective series. Played them with my morning coffee. My first for that genre. Yeah, I want to play through those too. Well, the Japanese ones would be hard to play. Unfortunately, it's one of the cases where there's no English. The Japanese, the physical copy does not give you access to the English version. But that new Emio the Smiling Man one,
yeah,
it got an American physical release. Like, that was so weird, and that they didn't do that for the others. I don't get it.
The thing that I find that to be most memorable about this is there's like one specific soundbite that I think of like every time. If you see like a pickup truck and you pull the person out of the driver's seat, he always goes like, "My toolbox." That is like the number one thing that I remember about this game is the person who's driving the pickup truck. He goes, "My toolbox."
That is pretty funny.
Like, he's more upset about losing his toolbox than anything else.
Maybe that's what. This game was made in Scotland, right? Like, maybe that's what. How people in the UK call trucks lorries. Maybe that's another kind of slang for a truck. Is my tool? Your truck is your toolbox. I don't know. Probably not. It's probably meant to be funny. It is funny. I see Lindis is excited that you are going to be playing Lufia too.
Are you playing what?
That's one of your pledge games, right?
What is?
Lufia 2?
It was last year. With
Blinks beaten, I've got 5 for every year.
Oh.
So I every year is 5 games right now, because the 2024 was only 5 to begin with.
Yes.
So, and I'm going to hopefully beat Jack 2 here soon, and so 2024 will have become 4 games, and I like the idea of like throughout this year trying to keep the list for each year even.
Yeah.
So before doing another 2024 game, I would need to get 2023 and 2025 down to 4 games.
Okay.
So like for 2023, I might do Hyper Light Drifter next, because I think it's going to be short. And then I'll figure out what I would do for my first 2025, and then have 4 for 4. Thinking about it in terms of 4 for each year, like, you don't really think of that in terms of, well, that's 12 games. You think, 4, that's not many, right? So it kind of feels good, I think.
Well, we'll see. There's a lot of stuff that I mentioned briefly in the video. Like, I think you explained it in the in the Discord when people are, because I like to put games in that I feel like if I put more than like 5 hours into a game, I'll generally try to put it in there.
We have a different approach to what our criteria
Yeah,
is.
I mean, I feel like I maybe play more than you do, like a variety of stuff more, maybe.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
But I don't. You
only
only put stuff in there that you finish, basically.
Usually, like there was one exception to that, I think, which was Super Bunny Man, which I just
but I mean,
I couldn't not.
Yeah, how could that not? Who cares?
I had
right?
to include that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I put a lot of stuff in there just that I think because I do play them, but if sometimes I like I know for like Hyper Gun Sport, like I didn't really care for it, and I didn't put a lot of time into it, but I still, like I had actually written that back in January, so I'm like, I'm just going to put this in because I have it all captured and everything already.
Right.
So why would I not? And I guess like my segments were slightly longer than yours because of that, probably.
Oh yeah. I was surprised that you managed to consistently make 15+ minute segments.
I don't know how that happened. I was not thinking that was going to happen.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it was. So I ran into, I ran into an interesting issue, and I think I can fix this. In fact, I was already thinking this might be the way to fix it, and then, I mentioned in the Discord, and Uramashi told me to do this, and I'm pretty sure it'll work. So the last thing I captured was the little quick mention of Fatal Frame 4, which I had originally written like a whole section for it, but I had to just trim it down to a mention.
Right.
Very last thing I captured was just one clip of Fatal Frame 4. And so, I put in my PS5 Pro, and I don't have permission to boot the PS5 version because there's no PS5 physical copy. You
right.
You
need
get the PS4 version.
You had to do like the digital copy, like the upgrade, right?
And I have the Asia version, and I have the Asia version of both Fatal Frame 4 and 5, and I'm not sure if the Japanese version gives you access to English. I'm unclear on that. So I got the Asia version to be safe. And you can't claim the PS5 upgrade on an American account, though. There's probably other. You might be able to do it with, like, I don't know, a Korean account or something, but like it sounds like what people usually do is make a Hong Kong account. So I made a Hong Kong account, which let me claim the digital PS5 version on that account.
Right.
And I thought I would have to play it on that account, but then I was surprised when I saw the PS5 upgrade on my dashboard when I was on my main account. I was like, oh, and I loaded it up and it was fine. So as long as you claim it on a correct region account, you can play it on anything on that system, which I guess is no different
because that is like
sharing.
your home system. Like that PS5 is now like the home system for it. So anything that's like installed on other accounts, you don't have to be logged in. You don't have to be online to play it on that system.
So the main reason I need to, the main thing I need to do is I need to go into my Hong Kong account. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet, but I need to load up my Hong Kong account and make the PS5 Pro its main system so that I can play the PS5 upgrade for Fatal Frame 4 and 5. So unfortunately, it was just like a quick clip at the beginning of the game because the save was on my account, but I was only able to play it
right
on the Hong Kong account. So it had to be at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
So that was the very last clip I grabbed at like, I don't know, 2 a.m.
That's a much better clip than my last clip was with Santa Snoop Dogg from Fortnite. Which is something like I added like that day. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna mention that I played Fortnite like for like a second there.
I mean, when I saw that clip, I'm like, what else would you have put there?
Yeah.
By the way, you were the chat might be interested in hearing little bit of the story here. You were telling me that you had recorded some of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I guess, on your Atomos Ninja because you got surround sound, right? Yeah. Which let you isolate the center channel so that you could have voice without music.
Yeah.
And there was that random clip where where you're like, you started getting really nervous. Will she or won't she? And then that clip of Eris going, let's see.
Yeah. Well, the one before that too, when she's like talking about, like, because I talk about how I delayed everything for so long and
did all the mini games and stuff.
Yeah. And she's like, like how about a little vacation of like doing like what all like let's just do a bunch of stuff. Like just trying to take the time. All right, I'm gonna switch over to Ninja Gaiden. Is anybody gonna be like real upset if I stop playing this and I switch over to Ninja Gaiden?
I don't see why not.
Is that okay? I think
we got a taste of this. This is impressive. Yeah. It'd be interesting.
What am I gonna do? Play through the whole game tonight?
Can you?
I don't know. I bet you can. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I see that Raging Leet thinks it's lame to switch.
What's that?
I said I see that Raging Leet thinks it's lame to switch. Black Bunny's day is ruined. Alex DC very upset.
Okay.
So this is the new fan port of the Ninja Gaiden trilogy. I'm assuming this interface is part of that.
Correct. And then once you start, you can choose like, you can have like the PC Engine version music or the arranged music or just the original music.
Ooh.
I'm gonna do the arranged music.
Yeah, why not? Oh, Henry Clark is very cross with you. Oh, local S'mores Pop-Tart is playing Ninja Gaiden Shadow. Okay with double the ninja. Oh, Ninja Gaiden Shadow is excellent. There was a notification that Scott Snyder has been a member for 52 months in a row. 52. By the way, this is always one of my go-to areas for like checking like interpolation and integer scaling because of the dithering on the ground here. It's possible that it won't be scaled correctly just because of how it's inset into the stream and then inset within your own YouTube window. But I always this is always a good game for checking that. I think a simple like white and gray dither. But anyway, Scott Snyder says, "Happy New Year, fellas! I hope you both had a great holiday. Try, how's your tour video coming along? What other videos can we expect this year?" So the first video from me is going to be. Well, you're working on a video on the scalable video switch,
right?
Which is the one where you can kind of put all these different modules together, and I'll help a little bit with that as well. But like the first one for me is going to be,
don't know why that's so
in the next
quiet.
day or two, I should have. Huh?
Just the audio is real quiet.
Or static in the game audio?
Sounds like it's clipping because I have it cranked up. You know what? If it's just that music that's
Well, what
messed up,
why
I'm
don't
gonna...
you try like unhiding and like hiding and unhiding the capture source? Because like sometimes
No,
I
it
find
sounds
that-
really low on my sources here though too.
Oh. So sometimes like capture card like audio just like screws up on the capture card and it just needs to be reset.
Does this sound better? Does that sound...
Because is it just generating Super Nintendo sound here?
Should I do the I'll just do the regular.
Yeah, but y'all let us know if it sounds like it should. Yeah, y'all let us know if it sounds. I was trying to listen a little bit.
100 times better. So much just be the MSC one version. 100 times better. So much just be the MSC one version.
I was trying to listen to it, but I couldn't hear. Huh.
Well, it was very quiet.
Sounds okay, just a bit low. Yeah, it does sound like it's a little bit low, so maybe turn it up a little bit. Anyway, I should be getting in the next couple of days. I mean, I'm expecting it to be horrible, but I just really wanted to do it, and you know, I'll give him a chance, but I'm expecting it to be terrible. The Marseille RGB series, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be really bad, but
so is there no audio now?
We'll see. That should be a easy little warm up for 2025 for me, I'd say.
Okay, so there's no game audio. So let me...
I mean, there is audio, I assume. When I unmuted before, I heard
what if I do this?
Yeah, some people say there is via headphones.
Let me know if that's better.
I honestly, hardcore, that video I made, that I did the regular M Classic and the 4K Gamer Pro, like, you know, I wanted to make that video to, kind of put it out there, what, you know, these things are doing. You know, a lot of people disagree with my take on it, and that's okay. But honestly, it was kind of a fun video to make, and actually very easy. So
Yeah.
it's not going to be a long video. In fact, I mean, I I'll have to explain a few things with this. And some people might not like the idea of this, but just give it a chance, okay? My New Year's resolution is that I am not allowed, at least through the summer, I'm not allowed to make a video longer than 15 minutes. Because if I allow myself to make a video longer than 15 minutes, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and I never get anything done. Now, that is not to say I'm going to make videos or I'm not going to cover subjects in the same depth that I do. I like going into excessive details and things like that. So how do I make a video in 15 minutes too? Well, in a lot of ways, we kind of already do that. When Coury and I make a video together, we try to make our segments 5 to 15 minutes each, because for the people who don't have YouTube Premium or don't have an ad blocker, we have mid-rolls. We like to have them about every 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes, max 15 if we can help it. So that's kind of what we do already. We like, whatever the subject is for that segment, we take care of it in roughly that span of time. And
I just thought I was going to land on that shot. Changed my mind.
So what I want to do is like kind of do it like that. And, if I want to, like, for example, when I did when we did that RetroTink 4K video, Coury did a little section on like the analog video stuff, because I was so deeply interested in the HDMI stuff. And that was what I had spent like all my time on. So in that sense, like even though that was long, but I didn't really cover like the entire subject. I just covered this part that I was really interested in. And what I want to do is like, okay, like what is a particular thing about this device, game, or subject that that I really want to look at? And so, what can I explore completely within 15 minutes? And you know what? If I think there's more to talk about, then I'll make another video. I don't see what the problem is. So like, for example, when the analog 3D comes out, I will, I think a video talking about like the video capabilities or something like that could be handled in 15 minutes, right? Now, there's other features on the system, like the overclocking, I think, is going to be a feature. And so, like, okay, why not? If I think it's interesting enough to make a video on, well, then why don't I just do a different video on that? So this does not apply to Coury. He can do however he wants. He enjoys making long videos that go from like thing to thing to thing to thing to thing really quickly. Mm-hmm. Whereas I like to spend a lot of time on one thing, and then when you make that a string of things, I just spin my wheels. And there's just like no light at the end of the tunnel when you're working on this project.
I want to say that Walter Smith here has like one of the best beards in games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. 100%.
Okay, you can continue.
Yeah. I see Red Panda says, I don't know, videos about a product like that deserve a long length, but that's just my opinion. You do whatever makes you less stressed about putting out videos. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, I have determined that, like, long videos is the problem for me. Because when I do something that is in a manageable chunk, it's not a big deal. Like the way I am, to like really move forward on something without it taking a long time. Like I'm always like, I gotta have all my ducks in a row, like every step of the way. And so I always end up like making sure my ducks are in a row. And I'm like, okay, is this really all ready? Is this right? Is this ready to go? Then I slowly move forward. And then you run into a roadblock and you have to, so like that's just how I operate. And I can't stop being that way. And that just becomes very problematic when you're working on an extremely long video, and you see how long it takes to get videos out these days. So I'm taking a break, a forced break, at least through the summer, and then we'll evaluate and seeing how that goes. you know, from long videos. I'm not allowed to do long videos. I have to make shorter videos.
Friends.
And we'll see how it's going at that point. You know, we'll reevaluate. But Hardcore says could be 3 hours long for all I care. But you know, I care. I don't want it to be that long anymore. I do not like the process of making long videos. like I like being, you know, very, very detailed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
what's good about this, I guess, is like I don't want to change how I make videos. Like I like doing, like I like to do long videos with a lot of stuff in it.
Yes.
So I will continue to do that, or you know, like I will do shorter videos, like when it applies to it. Like I can't imagine like this, like the SVS video is not going to be more than 20 minutes max, because I mean, there's only so much stuff you can show, and you know, like Try as a he goes into a lot more detail than I do a lot of times. Like my
that's where I get
usually like,
down.
hey, here's what this thing does, and like what I think is cool about it. And a lot of times I don't feel like a desire or need to like really over explain it. I think the best example of your need to like over explain stuff is when you did the edge enhancement mod video, where you had the whole like a 10-minute or maybe more bit on what sampling is. Like I feel like that segment just on sampling could have been its own video.
It could have been, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like I was using it, that subject to is like a way to explain that, but like in a lot of ways that almost became like the subject of the video more so than the edge enhancer in a weird way, you know? Like, so I don't know. That was, and I think I need to, if I force myself to only make 15-minute videos, then I'm still going to be interested in looking at these things, but I think I'll look at them in a more realistic way of like, let's just go like really deep in a short time frame on this. And then now I saw someone saying, well, what about the 64 third-party N64 games worth playing? I've been thinking about that. And I've been thinking, well, I would like to get going on that. And, you know, maybe I'll do something like, you know, I'll make it an ongoing series with no promises or guarantees. It'll just in theory be an ongoing thing. You know, maybe I'll do like, it'll be like a series like Rare after Nintendo, you know, third-party N64 games worth playing. And maybe I'll do one that's on Konami. Maybe I'll do one that's on racing games, you know. Maybe I'll do one on Ubisoft, you know.
And it, I agree. Whatever, you know, like helps you, you know, decide what you want to do. My main issue with that is that we never finish any series that we start anyways.
I know. And that's why I'm saying no promises, no guarantees. But if at some point I have 64 games done, I mean, this could be years down the line. But if so, then it becomes 64. It's, you know, a compilation, 64 third-party and 64 games worth playing. Like I'm over promising stuff. I'm done with promising stuff. I'm done with, I just want to do what I'm interested in doing this week. And I don't want to, I'm so tired of like being really excited about a subject at the beginning and then,
did I just skip like the whole, did I skip the cutscene there?
I don't know.
That's like, I love that part where he like, the army like hires him to like, drops them into the Amazon.
But anyway, like I'm just not going to worry about Ninja. Like promises and stuff like that anymore. I'm just going to make like, here is what is interesting to me this week, because I always like to say like the best way for me to learn about something is to make a video. So if I'm interested in it, I want to make a video on it because it helps me learn about it, right? And so like, I'll just do what's interesting to me. And then, you know, like if there is another thing about that subject, I'll just make it, you know, like I was with the example of the analog 3D. Like if there's more I want to talk about with the analog 3D beyond 15 minutes, I'll do it. But I'm not promising that I will. If it is interesting enough to me, I'll do it. You know? And I just think I need that right now. Because I get so stuck in just these never-ending videos, and I don't like that process anymore. I don't like how I mesh with that process. You know? So now I say no promises, but here I will make one promise. One, you know, kind of vague, non-definite promise. Here's what I want to do with the tour video. You know, I've you know, already got this thing written that's like probably like coming on 2 hours of content. Which is absurd. You know, I was you know, I have some of it shot. I've got so much written, and it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, it's horrifying. What I want to do, what I'm thinking of doing. You know, I'm sure Coury's gonna be back there thinking like, well, I'll believe it when I see it. But what I'm thinking is I will do kind of a overview without a lot of specifics, like kind of a main tour video. 15 minutes, covers upstairs, downstairs, office, library, but without like you'll be able to see what's going on, but it won't have a lot of the deeper, like, you know, how, what, you know, how is all this connected? How is this working? What settings am I using? You know, that I want to get into. So then you're what I'm saying is I'm going to have that shorter overarching tour video. And then I will do more videos that are like kind of part of.
Holy cow. This freaking guy. There we go.
You know what? For some reason, I think there's less lag, less delay tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's more similar to Twitch. Like, we don't use the ultra low latency because it looks really bad, but yeah, I think it's a little better. But anyway, I'm so Q46 says 2 hour tour video sounds great. It sounds great for you, but I'll be making that for I'll be making that for months. I mean, and I know you'll say, "Oh, we'll take your time." I don't want to. Like, I don't want that hanging over me for that long. I want to release something. You know, I just want to get something out there. I'm like the spending forever just on a video isn't working for me anymore. That's what I'm saying. It's not working for me anymore. Just spending forever on a video. I know y'all are okay with me taking my time. I know you are. But I just don't want to be working on the same thing forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Jesus, and same guy.
Not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the problem. Like I cannot. When I see like how big a video is becoming, I'm just like, I couldn't even begin to guess how long this is going to take. And you think, well, do I have to work all day, every day for weeks on end to get this done? I don't know. You just can't even assess it. So anyway, I want to make that overarching video. And then I will zoom in other videos, like on aspects, like how do I stream from the living room? How do I have the analog video consoles hooked up? What do I do with the, you know, some of the other CRTs or you know, I've got some extra HDMI consoles in the retro room as well. What do I do? What do I do with those? How do I charge my controllers nowadays? I'm actually pretty excited about that one. So, like, you know, I want to answer like a specific question someone might have about my setup or how to do certain things in their setup. I want to answer like certain questions you may have in more depth. And I think what you're ultimately going to get with this approach, because the videos are so long right now as they have been, like there are things that like I cut for time. I'm just like, I wish I could say this. I really do, but I can't do this. I can't do this. But if it's 15 minutes, then I think I can go into details in a 15, like if I'm making a 15-minute video at a time about related subjects or something, I think you're overall going to be getting more video out of me and more information about whatever subjects I do cover over the long term. Because I'm not going to be cutting certain things, or I'm not going to be so sick of it by the time I finish the video that I won't want to do another one. But again, I'm not promising anything other than I will do various videos to further explain my setup following the vaguer overarching tour video. And my intent is to do that, start doing that stuff following that Marseille video. So I know some people will not like that because they think we're all about long videos, but give it a chance, and I think you will find that you will ultimately be getting more content out of me and more details about what I
love this part. I love the little delay on him falling.
I'm waiting for it.
When the trap door happens, there's like
bro, it's so. But once it starts falling, it's like so fast.
I know, but it's like it just makes me think of like a Road Runner, like Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
It's funny because I haven't thought about that in so long, but I knew that it was going to come. It's like, oh, that's right. There's like that little delay.
Yep.
Sorry. Well, I think it'll be interesting. Like, I'm not going to change anything. Like, I guess between like the ad-lib video and, you know, just, I guess, you know, like, it's weird.
That's something else I don't like doing, by the way. Like, is like, I don't like doing ad-lib videos.
You don't like to make them?
I don't like to edit them.
I don't think you've ever. I don't think you've like edited one of the ad-lib.
Well, about
on
one of ours, but like for example, I did that.
Like the Audi thing. I guess that's the only one that you did. I think that might be the only.
Yeah, one. that is true. But like for example, on Digital Foundry, you know, in the past week or two, they released that little thing I recorded with John. Looking at like the Dreamcast and PS2 versions of Soul Reaver 1 and 2 and the new version on PS5.
Holy mackerel, this guy's going nuts on me.
Wow. Which that was, you know, it was fun to do. But it was not fun to edit. You know, I don't.
Yeah, and I mean,
I don't enjoy that process. I just don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a big part of that though is like a lot of times you can't just like let go and just be like, all right, I'm just gonna like let it be what it is. Like you can't let it go.
I know I can't, and that's why I'm saying like I gotta limit myself. Like, and I gotta limit myself not by how detailed I want to be, but by the overarching length. And if that leads to a subject or a subtopic that I wanted to get into not being covered, and I still really want to do that, I'll just do it as another video. Like this is what I want to do. And, I mean, and I was talking to John about it, and he said, maybe you guys like should embrace more like what they do over on Digital Foundry, where like, everyone there, like they do their own videos their own way, and people seem to like that variety, right? You know?
Yeah.
And so we should lean into our like proclivities and our strengths like more than we do, I think. We should do what you should do, what you're really good at, and I should do what I'm good at, right? Or and what is interesting to us,
I mean,
rather than
to
like
be fair, like I think that's kind of what we've been doing.
You are. I mean, you are right. You are right. Although, there might be times where we get bogged down into a project where
but I don't think that's happened in a
probably
long time.
shouldn't have. But for me though, like this is what I'm doing. So at least through the summer, like you're getting 15 minutes videos out of me, and it is my job to prove to y'all that it's going to be good. That this is going to be better. So
Man, all right. Maybe I'll.
I think.
Maybe I'll switch to Ninja Gaiden 2. Well, I have played this first one a lot, and I've only beaten it like a handful of times in my life. But it's been a long time since I've even played this far into it.
Yeah, I don't even remember this song, to be honest.
I mean, I think this is a great game. Like I really love this first one. I rented this one back in the day like more than once.
Right, and you weren't even a big NES kid, so that says something.
I mean, the only games I remember renting many times is like this and Mega Man 2, maybe the first one. Gee, that same bat has gotten me several times. All right, let's switch to let's play 2.
Master Saver said, Corey just said holy mackerel. I mean, you say holy mackerel a lot.
I do. Is it funny? I say that a lot because it's just, I don't know. I think it's funny.
I think it's funny,
and it's
too.
become part of my
part of your vocabulary.
my lexicon at this point.
Yeah, you know what I was realizing when I was doing that little Discord stream of putting together the Lego Piranha Plant.
Mm-hmm.
I was following the directions, and I was just constantly saying like, okay, and then this piece goes like this,
like this,
and I'm pretty sure that comes from your like, in my mailbox was this, and it's just like I didn't really think about it, but I'm just like, wow, I'm just like saying that without even thinking about it. Like this.
You know, it's
like
funny.
these.
Like since I've been playing Red Dead Redemption, you can hit the L3 button when you're riding a horse, and you like pat your horse, and he like says something. And he's like, all right, girl. That's right, girl. And like I've been doing that like a ton to Nelly. I'm like, oh, that's a good girl. Yeah.
There was anyway, I've gotten way behind on super chats in my ramble about promising to make shorter and more frequent videos. And also as detailed as always. I promise. But anyway, there was $5 super chat from Sizwiv. Always love saying that. Sizwiv. Saying happy 2025. Excited for developments around the new CRT beam algorithm published by the Board Busters chief back on Christmas Eve. Yeah, I'm so interested in that. I would love I don't really have the right screen to utilize it. And I don't know. I'll be just interested to see what the applications are like outside of RetroArch. I think it's really important what they've done there.
I know it's coming to the Tink 4K, but I think it's only available up to 1440p.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, it is fairly heavy. I did not know it was coming to the Tink 4K.
I mean, I'm sure he's working on it.
Well, I'll be really interested to see how that. Like I don't know if I don't. Even if it was a lower resolution, I'm not sure if I even. I don't think like my LG C1 even could do like 1080p 240. I don't think. So I don't think I have the right. I'd love to see it though, because I think you might be able to do it at 120, but like I don't know. So I'm really curious to see like how that compares to just standard black frame insertion. Because technically, that is also drawing from top to bottom, right? So, I'll be curious to see how different it is. I think a really big key here, too, could be that it would be tuned for the content on a higher refresh monitor. So, for example, if you were to just turn on black frame insertion for something that was like, if you had like a 240 hertz monitor and you just turned on black frame insertion and the content was 60, you might get like a double image effect, or maybe like a quadruple image effect. So this might, I wonder if it would solve that. I don't know. I haven't looked that. I think it's really exciting, but I haven't looked that closely just because I don't have a way to utilize it right now. I would be really curious though, like, I would be really curious if like an external box, like a lag-free external box could be created that would like add black frame insertion to, you know, a 4K input source.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, see, I agree with Voltar. I think it's neat. I just wish that I cared that much about BFI. Like it just does not, especially since my TV like dims so much to use it. Just like it just, and if I could put it on a single button, like a shortcut button on my remote, I would probably use it more. But the fact that I got to go like 4 menus deep to use it every time makes me just like I just not even bother.
It makes such a huge difference though. Like if you,
I mean, but I'm not sitting there and I'm not looking at it like if you use it, it's so blurry. Like it does not bother me in its current form.
But if you use it with the RetroTink 4K. And use the HDR injection, like it really offsets the darkness issue. And also, I think especially if you're playing something retro and have scan lines on it, or other CRT effects, I think it really completes the look of the CRT effect. I don't use it that often on non-retro stuff. It's some things depending on the game, but I mostly use it on retro or retro style games. But I think it's a pretty big difference. I really like it personally.
I mean, it's neat, but it's just not something that interests me.
Yeah. I mean, I've found that, like, ever since the RetroTink 4K has come out, especially, like, I actually really enjoy the tinkering process of like just like seeing what settings I want to use for this game, which I very much understand people not wanting to do that, right? Like that whole like RetroTink profile integration with the SVS, like that is a huge feature for most people out there. But like for me, I'm like, oh, but I kind of want to mess with retro. Like I like messing with it, right? So like I don't know if I would want to use that feature, but I'm like a super minority there. Like I enjoy messing with it, and I feel that's also good. But like it keeps me sharp, so to speak, right? Like it's if I were to just like let the thing do all the work for me all the time, I would probably like forget some of the features and how to use them and stuff like that, right? So I think especially since I make videos doing about some of these features and how to use them sometimes, it'll come in a lot on my tour stuff. I think it's good to just have your hands on the retro tape, right? Because I kind of like just looking like, ooh, how bright do I want to set the HDR today?
Yeah, I mean, I literally do not think about that at all.
But that really only applies to stuff I do through the RetroTink. Like I like it. I mean, there's a line for me because like, I was talking, with like John was finally getting into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth thanks to the Pro patch, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like on the same front, I played through that whole game in fidelity mode, and the low frame rate did not bother me at all.
Your footage certainly looked a lot better than my footage. Since I played.
Yeah, I mean, just like it didn't bother me in the slightest.
But anyway, but he was playing it. He was talking about like, oh, and because of the way the lighting in the game is something. I found that it looks really good if I set like the brightness to this, and that. And I'm like, okay, like getting into changing like RetroTink settings, I like messing with. TV settings, I like to just be the same forever. Like I am not going to be doing different TV settings per game. That's a stretch too far.
Man, this guy is getting me.
Back to the super chats. I apologize for the wait on some of these. EB Chill 2 with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Saying my son made me play Max Payne 3 all weekend. Did about 80% of the grinds. Completely burned out.
Wait, you talking like the multiplayer mode or whatever?
Oh,
like there's like a I don't
like.
Why
like
would
is,
you?
Is,
why
is
why
your
do
son
that?
just really into Max Payne 3 for some reason? Is it for like trophy hunting? I guess.
I guess so.
Your son's a trophy hunter or an achievement hunter, maybe. You're kind of an apologist for Max Payne.
Oh, I really like it, man. There's like a sequence like towards the end of the game, like where you go into an airport and it plays like this really good song, and it's just like the highlight of the game. It's like such a good moment where it just like really gets you hyped up, and it's like just like a big shootout in an airport terminal. I mean, it's just like I talk about that a lot, where it's just like a certain song can like, bring a part of a game together in such a good way, and it really does. Why am I having such a hard time with this dude?
There was also a $2 super chat from good old Jonathan Henson. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me see if I can do an impression here. It's probably going to fail really, really hard. This is going to be terrible. I have no idea what's about to come out of my mouth. In the words of Tim Rogers, this soundtrack owns.
Maybe.
You want to try? Try?
No.
Okay.
Not something that
owns. No. I tried. I failed. I tried. Sorry, y'all. There was also a $5 super chat from Old Blade Blur. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saying a wonderful job on GWP video of 2024. Even if the year was crummy, I will always go back to Coury Carlson.
Like, did you say something in your thing about how this year was not very good?
In the intro, I said, not taking ownership of it, I just said there seems to be a common sentiment out there that 2024 was a bit of a down year for video games, which I think is true.
Video game development. I feel like there's like so many good games came out this year.
Well, yeah, but I feel like, especially 'cause, like, I mean, look at like Sony. Sony like did not release like a lot. Like Astrobot is amazing, of course, but like I feel like Sony probably had fewer. Like if you're the kind of person that's only looking at AAA games, which a lot of people are, I think the perception was it was a down year. Was it for me? I do think I played fewer, and like I said in my intro, I said I think I did play fewer games that actually released in the year than I have in the past. But that probably says more about me than the state of video games, right? I think there was. I think, this was not a statement I was claiming as true. Whew. Man, you had him so good, and then you like started.
I know. I
cracking
was overthinking it.
So yeah, it was certainly a troubling year in terms of developers having jobs.
Yeah.
But I saw that a lot. Like people were like, oh my gosh, like there's nothing this year. And again, that's the people that are like looking at PS5 exclusives. There wasn't. That's true. It wasn't as big of a year.
I mean, I guess the big question is, there's 2 new releases that I played this year that I put close to 100 hours into each. I mean, like, what would justify a good year is if you had, I don't know, 20 games that came out that you put 100 hours into. Like, what does it take for a person to say like, oh, this has been a good year for games? I mean, dude, right. There's more games than I have time to play. I mean, isn't that like every year ever? Like,
yes. I mean, and I think we're mostly talking about like, 16-year-olds with literally nothing else to do, but
yeah.
Put 100 hours into every open world AAA game.
You know what? 16-year-olds they have enough to do.
Well, these days they probably do. Although, I mean, you probably have a choice of not doing a lot. I mean, I certainly did when I was growing up, and I think I like to think I would be the same today. I was extremely anti-curricular activities, extracurricular activities, because none of that I wanted to do. I wanted to have time to play video games,
How do I get up there?
That's a good question. Physics broken?
No, I guess I just gotta go this way.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Of course, I don't know if AAA single player games are what 16-year-olds are even playing. But this was not a statement I was espousing.
Okay.
I was just saying there seems to be a common sentiment. But yeah, there were comments. I didn't interpret the comments as like disagreeing with me, because some people may have.
Okay, I was just thinking about it because I didn't know if this was like a response to something that I said where, like I say, this was like a really, I felt like it was a really good year for games.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, there was good stuff. Well, and also I think it was a down year for the Switch, which makes sense. I do think it was a down year for the Switch. I think it was a down year for the Switch and a down year for Sony
What
first
came out
party.
this year on there? Like, I mean, I feel like there was like a lot of stuff that came out. Maybe it was just not
But like
what, you know, like what a lot of people.
well, there was certainly a
wanted,
lot of
but, I
stuff
mean,
that
there was,
came
like-
out, but most of it were like multi-platform games I'd rather play on PS5.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, the system's been out for a long time at this point.
Well,
So,
exactly.
Like, it's gonna have it down here, but I feel like it was still.
They did have a really good Nintendo Direct. I mean, I'd say one of the all-time best. But like, you know, some of that stuff's coming out this year. Some stuff's being held back. You know, I didn't play Echoes of Wisdom because I'm planning to wait for the Switch 2 to play that. Because I think it'll perform a lot better. So anyway, like, I mean, I think there's some element of truth to that, but that was not something that I was stating. That was the very beginning of the video. That was the very beginning of the video. So I don't think people were like accusing me of having a bad take.
Yeah.
But I was not claiming any ownership of that statement. I'm just saying that was just my way of saying,
I
like,
feel like
it
that guy
doesn't matter
knocked me
whether.
back so much farther than you should have.
But anyway, I was just saying that there is a common perception of that, but it doesn't matter whether it's true or not, because a good game is always worth playing.
Yeah.
And we already have backlogs bigger than what we know what to do. So that's what I was saying. That's all I was saying, was it doesn't matter whether it was a good year or not. Like, some people think it wasn't, some people think it was. But we played more games from other years than from 2024, and that's okay. That's, you know, that was just me coming up with a new way to say the same thing that we always say at the beginning of the games we played, right? You know, just trying to come up with a different way to say it. I do gotta say though, Blade Boy, I like your abbreviation of GWP. Because for some reason, it never occurred to me that it could be like shortened to something like GWP. Because I always feel like whenever we're talking about, we always either say the year-end video, which sounds weird and clunky, or we say the games we just call it the games we played, which is a lot more to type out and say. It's the Gulp video. GWP, the Gulp.
Wrecked in this one. I mean, I guess this just goes to show everybody like how much more I played the first one than two.
Yeah. I think 1 and 2 are actually very similar difficulty, but
yes, and
but
they're not that hard until like the very end of the game.
Right. 2 is a lot more polished and smooth feeling, so it feels like the difficulty is more earned, more fairly earned, I suppose, but they're still brutal. Whereas, you know, Ninja Gaiden 3, I think is the most, like, one of the most impeccably designed platformers. You know, the level design is incredible. It's just that it was perceived as being so impossibly difficult in America because they took away the infinite continues. And also cranked up the difficulty.
Jeez.
But it's, once you know what you're doing, it's really not that hard. Like, I've said it many times, do some warm-ups with the Japanese version, which is actually fairly easy for the most part. Ninja Gaiden 3 Famicom is way easier than Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2. Way, like, a lot. And then once you've played through that game, the NES version feels like the hard loop. With limited continues. That is a little scary, but it's, once you kind of have a handle on that game, I think it has the best level design on the NES. It's just really well designed. It's very intimidating though, going in blind. But once you get the flow of the levels, like the enemy placement. Like you can just go through, like the enemy placement just feels like there's a flow to the level. And the item placement, the way that, they'll give you, your upward diagonal item, and then like the next several enemies will be really easily killed with that submount. It's all just rhythm and flow. It's really good.
I don't know what I was doing there. It is funny that they just like straight up put Jason in this. It's
Yeah.
like just straight up Jason. Like that's.
I was looking at that too.
Like yeah, let's just. Jason.
Speaking of Ninja Gaiden 3, when I got my NES copy of that, my dad gives me my dad gives me $20 worth of scratch lottery tickets every Christmas. Like, it's been a tradition for,
that's always fun.
Many years. And I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I had seen Ninja Gaiden 3 like impeccable condition sitting behind the case in Video Game World. I was like, oh,
and you said, I'll give
that.
you these $20 in scratch off tickets for that.
No. But I saw it and I was like, oh,
Would you take that deal if someone offered you $20 of scratch off tickets for a copy of Ninja Gaiden? Like, and the potential is like you could win however much is on there. Anyway,
no, I would not give anyone my copy of Ninja Gaiden 3 for that. Absolutely not. Anyway, I had seen it in Video Game World. I'm like, oh, I want that, but I don't know, $50. I don't know. I mean, it was actually a really good deal, even at the time. I don't know what it goes for now, but it was actually, I would say, on the lower end of the going price, and it was like as good a condition of an NES game as you could ever hope for. Like, it's in really, really good shape. I was like, oh man, I want that, but I don't know if I can justify $50 for it because I've got the Famicom version. And then that year, I got from the $20 of lottery tickets, I got $50. I'm like, I'm going to Video Game World to get that Ninja Gaiden. Is that
what meant to happen?
Whoa. I don't think so. I don't think so. Might be some bugs.
His eyes kept on going. Like, he moved so fast into that position, his eyes just kept on going.
There might still be some bugs.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there's a revision A coming, so it was just like a funny thing to see. It's like he flew to the side so fast, his eyes are.
So anyway, that's been my biggest haul from those Christmas lottery tickets was the $50. So I was like, as soon as I got that, I'm like, it's fate. I'm getting that Ninja Gaiden. And I did. Now this year, we played. Doc Dragon always comes up with something interesting to play for. It's been a long-standing tradition where Doc Dragon has one stream directorship on the Backloggery each year, and he always schedules it for the last scheduled Monday of the year.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, the background here is like insane. Like, it's great. Like, that is a great.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so much fire. That background is so fire. That's like a lot of fire. Are they like? Is the inside of a volcano? I mean, any other place would be unacceptable. I mean, that is a lot of fire.
It really is. Anyway, so He had us this time. He had us play on PS1. He asked us to go on as blind as possible. I didn't know anything about it. Trag Mission of Mercy.
Yeah.
For
The Sunsoft
PS1,
game.
which
the
is
Sunsoft Resident Evil like.
sort of. I wouldn't call it a horror game because
Right.
it's more like.
But I mean, it's like, it's
more
I
like
guess it's like
sci-fi
the
Die
Sunsoft like Dino Crisis.
Yeah, I guess. So anyway, like it's interesting. Like it's actually more of like a melee combat game than a shooting game. But it's like it's like the most PS1 game ever. Like
Yeah.
it just it is. You've got the cheesy voice acting, you've got the pre-rendered backgrounds, you've got the wacky cast of very anime characters. It is so PS1. It's and I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
What's the
It's
Japanese name for it? I feel like Japanese name is pretty good.
Hard Edge.
That's it. Yeah. Which I feel is pretty good, but I feel like you might think like, oh, that's kind of generic. That's like
Yeah.
like a Steel Assault name. But Hard Edge is pretty. I feel like it's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
It is pretty good. I mean, I kind of like how overwrought the name is, and I like how also kind of inappropriate it is because it's like the subtitle is like Mission of Mercy, and it's like you're like trying to rescue hostages, and I'm like, if I'm a hostage, I don't. When I think of mercy, I think you're taking me out of my misery. Like, that's not what I want.
Did you play through the
Anyway, no. But we didn't finish the game. But like I was immediately like when I'm like seeing like, oh, it's got pre-rendered backgrounds, oh, it's got tank controls, oh, I got this cool brawling, like I'm immediately
I'm gonna play
like
3 because
I was immediately like, this is so PS1, and I feel like I am imminently going to go to Video Game World and hope to find this. And we looked up the price, and guess what? It's $30.
Oh, that's
and I
not
got
bad
$30.
at all. I kind of want to get it for that price.
Well, I mean, it was in the 30-ish range, I think. Might be a little more than that, but $30-ish. And I don't know if the Video Game World will have it, but I got $30 for my scratch tickets this year. So I'm like, oh, I already have something I want to get with it, if they have it. I was actually going to go Video Game World like the day after New Year's, but I had a hard time getting my sleep back on track after going to bed late. Because I went to bed like a little after 5 a.m.
On New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay. Getting
like
those.
finishing the video.
Yeah.
Because I was like done around like 2:30, but between like
It's funny because I just remember you saying like it was like 1 o'clock and you're like, I only have to grab like 2 more like 5-second clips or something.
Well, but you know how it goes. Like the last bits of getting a video done, like I had to render the segment.
Yeah.
I had to finish getting all of our segments lined up and making sure everything was transitioning between them correctly. And then I had to render the full thing, which probably took like an hour and a half.
Right.
I didn't want to go to bed until it was done rendering because I wanted to start up with it.
I get that.
So, yeah, anyway, I mean, it's just those last parts of a video just take weirdly long. I'm just glad that I had the thumbnail done like weeks in advance.
Yeah.
that was nice to have that done for once. And not be like, because I feel like I'm always shooting the thumbnail and feel like crap. This is another part of the reason I'm making short videos next year, because I don't like, if you're like, when you're making these long videos, even if there's not like a deadline for it, like it's easy to tempt myself into doing these all-nighters because it's like, I just gotta get this over with. I have to be done with this thing. Like every video feels like an entire phase of life when they're gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm tired. I'm so tired of that. Like it just, and then like you're so exhausted and it's just like, oh, I can't do anything but play video games for like a week or two. So that's another reason, because it's like, okay, if I'm only making like a 15-minute video, it's like, okay, well, I can see how much I have left to do tomorrow, which is not a big deal. I'll finish it tomorrow, right? So that's another thing that, see, you just got the little bird thing that if you use your sub-weapon, it like shoots things directly above and below you. And the enemy that immediately was coming for you after you picked that up would have been eliminated just like that if you used it right. So, like, think about that. Every time you get a sub-weapon, pay attention to the locations of the next few enemies, because chances are you can kill them very easily with that sub-weapon. It's so much more intentional than it is in the other games. And also, the enemies don't respawn for the entire room. Like, you can go back and forth all you want, and they will never respawn.
I think they knew.
It's a huge advancement.
Cool decision.
Oops, did I say next year at some point in that? This year.
The jumps are a lot more floaty. He only flips one time too. He doesn't flip 19 times every time he jumps.
I need to get back to our super chats here. There was a notification that Red Wolfie has become a member. Oh. No comment, but thank you and welcome.
Red Wolfie?
Red Wolfie.
Wolfie's just fine, honey. Wolfie's barking. Is there something wrong? Wolfie's fine.
Your foster parents are dead. There was also $5 super chat from Christopher M. Lincoln. Thank you. Saying, what's the word on the street regarding any more action button reviews? Am I the only one that watches those all the way through? I don't know. Has it been a while?
Everyone watched them all the way through. I get the impression that what I think is happening is, I bet he's like finishing all of his season 2 videos at one time. And then he will release them over the course of a year. So while he works on a season 3.
Maybe he too is daunted by long videos, struggling with it. It's tough. But that's his whole shtick. But see, people think that's my shtick too.
It is, but he's also making $15,000 a month on Patreon. And I could reconcile the stress of that.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Because then you know you're
on the hook for $15,000 a month.
Yeah. I don't like being on the I don't like being on the hook for money received either.
He is able to, like, I know that Krista Lee works for him, helps him like gather material. I think that Alex Jaffe like works for him. So it's like that is going towards like help to make that, make that stuff. And I mean, if we were making that much, like, we'd like hire people too.
Yeah. And he can just focus on just his verbose writing then, and that's,
Yeah, well, he goes and like films in different places. Like, I know that he's like gone to a bunch of different places to film. Like, because he just had a thing where, like, a couple months ago, like, he was going to shoot at a place and like all of his equipment got stolen.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's bad. By the way, something I want to say about this game, like, every level looks like it could be the last level.
Well, I felt like that fire level on the last one looked like it could have been the last level too.
Yeah, but like even that first level, I think looks like it could be a fire. Like, with all like test tubes and stuff. Like every level in this game looks like it could be the fire level, which is awesome. By the way, speaking of like you were talking about how that has so much fire, like there was it made me think of this force field that we encountered near the end of the stream with Trag Mission of Mercy, and we never got past it. But there was this force field in that game that was like the most harmful looking force field I have ever seen in any media ever. Like it was just like these like multiple gigantic thick lightning bolts like animating very rapidly with like a million like lightning bolt branches on them. It like communicated extraordinarily clearly like you will be like so dead if you touch this. Like I've never seen something that like made it more clear like will I just bump into it?
Jeez.
You know, can I like touch it? Will it just give me a little jolt?
I thought for sure
no.
The unlimited continues in this version. He did not put unlimited continue version in this version. I feel like
having the option to play Japanese or American would be interesting in this.
Yeah, I feel like that should be
in this game.
I think there's somebody here that like helped out with it. If that is an option, perhaps in the future, is to like have the US version that maybe just like has unlimited continues, because I don't think that anybody like wants the limited continues in this game.
No. But it was for me a satisfying challenge to overcome, but only because I practiced with the Japanese.
Right. I mean, would you could play this normally and then just like beat it like the NES ROM or something like that if you really wanted that experience.
So actually, when Drum and I originally played Ninja Gaiden 3, we wanted to play the Famicom version with Japanese rules, right? We wanted to play we wanted English text, but otherwise we wanted to play the Famicom version. Famicom version with English text. And the fan patch that we played, this was a good while ago. I mean, this was probably like close 10 years ago, maybe 9-10 years ago, I would guess. We wanted to do that. So, you know, we had a patch that we thought was that, but it wasn't until I did that year where I was attempting and failing to play this game every month, right? It wasn't until then that I, played my actual Famicom cartridge that I started to think, I don't think that is what that patch was. Because the Famicom version isn't just infinite continues and passwords. It's also a lot easier. Like, there are significantly fewer enemies. And that's why I say the American version plays like a hard loop, and a well-designed hard loop, because the enemy placement doesn't feel haphazard. It still feels very well planned, but there's just a lot more enemies. So, and it was still very challenging for us.
Oh, jeez, it sends me all the way back there. Does that happen in the Japanese version, where even if you die on a screen, it sends you back like multiple screens?
I don't remember. But anyway, yeah. So when I played the Famicom version, like it was really honestly a pretty breezy game. And sure, I'd beaten it before, but it was years prior. And I don't think that had anything to do with why I thought, I don't think that really had much to do with why I thought that it was so much easier when I played the Famicom cartridge versus when Drum and I played the patch. So what I am pretty sure the patch was was NES, text, and difficulty, but with passwords and everything. So we actually beat the harder version with Infinite Continues initially.
Okay.
But I've since done, you know, the Famicom version and NES versions for the You know, I wonder if this scrolls a little slower, because I want to say that it was really difficult to get that one up. But I could be misremembering.
It's gonna send me all the way back. Yeah, so look at that. Like, it sends me like really far back.
I want to say the Japanese version is more forgiving. I do think that is true. So you do have limited continues here, right?
You have limited continues, and it sends you back to the beginning of like the area
Right.
if you die.
So there's like one checkpoint per level. I'm not positive, but I want to say. Japanese versions.
It's funny to think about that they implemented these because of rentals.
Yeah.
But obviously the sales on the first two were good enough to like justify making a third one. It's not like their sales were being like destroyed by rentals.
It was a misguided theory. And you know, I also sometimes wonder like the extent to which it was true that like every instance of games being more difficult was to fight rentals. I mean, I don't know how much actual documented history there is on that, or if a lot of it is just speculation. I don't know. Sorry, this was a while ago. There was a 1999 from Scott Davis.
Oh,
thank you, good sir. Scott. Saying, Happy New Year, dudes. I just played all 11 Mega Man games for the first time.
That's in a row? Just like
last year? Or like yesterday?
Or like
either way, very impressive.
Like over this vacation.
Saying, am I alone to want Capcom to go Metroid style with the next game? I see hella potential in the genre tropes with the weapons and move mechanics. I don't know if you're alone, but I think among you, me, and Coury, you might be.
Yeah, although, I don't think that needs to happen, but I could see them doing another, like a separate game that incorporates that. If they wanted to.
I want to say
games like that, or
the ZX. That's what the ZX games are, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I have that ZX collection. I've never really played it.
I've booted it, but I've not played through it.
That doesn't have the GameCube like network transmission on it, does it? Or that's Battle Network. But the Battle Network collection does not have network transmission on it.
Right. Which honestly, you know, I streamed that game one week when you weren't. It was a while ago. You weren't here.
I remember that.
I had Duke on, and I did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy it. I don't think I kept it. I think I sold it. I don't think I have it. Let me check. I don't think I have
it. There was.
There was also a notification that Ex Machina Gamma has been a member for 76 months in a row. I don't know if we had. I don't know if we knew. I don't know if I knew we had anyone 76 months. Is that a record?
It could be, yeah.
I thought Scott Snyder was at the front of the pack.
Yeah. I was doing so good, but this one is like kicking my butt. What can I say?
Well, and it happens to everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Like, if you keep having too much trouble, you should. Have you played much of the Famicom version?
Perhaps. I mean, I don't really recall.
I mean, you should boot it up just for comparison's sake.
Yeah, I could do that.
If you don't get past this level soon.
I'm not gonna get past this level soon.
Well, then you should boot up the Famicom version.
Okay. Give me a second.
It would be interesting to see the context. And it makes a compelling argument for the developers to add that to this port. Oh, we got a $5 super chat from Warren Hokie. Thank you. Always good to see your name in here and for me to say it very incorrectly, I think. Saying, what's the last guilty pleasure game you played? Mine is the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy. Was it 5 Dates for you?
Yeah, I really meant to play 10 Dates for the video this year, but I have not. Maybe that might be a fun stream game.
Would it be? I don't know.
I don't know.
The last guilty pleasure game I've played. Let me look at my backlog history. See if anything jumps out at me as a guilty pleasure.
Now the music's gonna be real loud.
Let's see. I mean, I don't know if this would really this wouldn't really fit it too well, I wouldn't think. But D2 was the game that I wrote the most for. In my games we played in 2024 Blur. I wrote by far the most for D2. And there was more I would have said. I just felt like there was a lot to say about that game. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
But it was interesting.
I see Guilherme Rovias, or Frank Borst is saying Loco Cycle. And that's definitely up there, for sure. I feel like there's something that it was not in the video that I probably have played. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, though. But I wonder how many copies of Loco Cycle that video sold. I wonder if it sold more copies than had sold in the 2 months prior to it.
I'd say likely. I still haven't bought it myself. I need to do that. That's the kind of game that seems at risk of some sort of license. Well, Microsoft published it though, right? But even still, there could be some sort of license.
They may have, but I don't know.
I'm still looking down my list here, trying to figure out what would be a guilty pleasure. I mean, I don't feel that guilty about the games I like. There might be some games I like that aren't that popular, like Ninja Gaiden 3, for instance. But I think it's legitimately
great. I guess we didn't really talk about that. That new Ninja Gaiden that's coming looks awesome.
Oh yeah. Kind of made me think of something like The Messenger, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the visual presentation. Yeah. That was that was the first reveal of the Game Awards and probably the best one.
Yeah.
For us. That's really cool.
The enemy placement's like different in this too.
Well,
Seems
like
like
I said, I think the enemy placement is the same, but there's just fewer of them.
No, there was like one of those rolling things down here before.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, they cut some out and add some.
Yeah.
Or not cut out, they added to the NES version. Did you see that that Negicon controller action? I'm just looking through my backlog history to jog my memory, but did you see that Negicon controller action in my segment? Huh?
I didn't. Like I watched your segments, but I don't think I watched all the way through them. Or I didn't watch like the whole thing. I don't think.
Yeah, I was really glad I
watched them in piecemeal.
Because
I think in piecemeal.
I shot that like, January last year. And I was having a bit of a panic because I was like, oh my gosh, I know I have a ton of G-roll of Fallout 4 and Ridge Racer 4. Or I know I created it, and I'm like, did I accidentally like delete it or something? Like I couldn't find it. And I was like, oh no. And
Yeah.
I finally found, I had made an interval recording folder on the desktop of this computer. And like that was, Ridge Racer 4 was the only game that I actually recorded into that folder. Like I had done interval recordings on a few other games like Sly Cooper.
I like the idea that he's watching this on a giant CRT behind him. Like it's just like a gigantic CRT.
Oh, it's bigger than the one that Shank has.
Yeah. It's like the entire wall.
But anyway, like, yeah, so like I finally noticed that folder. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. The Fallout 4 stuff.
You got to upload. I'm going to ask you to do when this stream is over is to take your entire B and G roll folder and just copy them to the NAS.
Oh, I have been copying it bit by bit because it's going to take so long to upload anyway. Like I'm on it. I'm on it. I've been working on it.
I mean, I just made a folder like of all my stuff to be like organized. You just like drop it all in there, just like let it run overnight.
Well, you mean like let it run over a month?
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about like getting it copied over there and then like let it upload as it uploads.
Yeah, but I don't like interfere with. I don't want it to be so much stuff that like I have to like force it to pause or anything when like it's stream night or something. Like you don't you have a hard time remembering what not having fiber internet is like. It takes me a long time to upload.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying like, I mean, pausing it would probably take for the I guess one night of the week that you're.
Well, I'm doing it bit by bit because I'm trying to organize it.
Whoops.
I'm trying to organize it as I upload it.
Okay.
So I'm working on it. Hopefully my fiber will be pretty soon. I mean, the last estimate I had would be it should be available like pretty soon here. I don't have a newer estimate though. But I mean, here's like an obvious one. I end up not including it in the video, but I actually like beat Vampire Survivors in January last year. That's definitely a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
What else would be a good one though? Man. Like, what do I like? Oh, Lynn was asking what was the first Game Awards reveal. It was Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, a new
Rage
2D
bound.
pixel. Yeah, a new 2D pixel art Ninja Gaiden game. Which I was like, well, this is off to a good start. That name is a little silly though.
It's
Like
pretty
that.
silly.
That does not set. Like if you were to tell me a new Ninja Gaiden game was announced, it's called Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, I would like 100% assume it's like, you know, of the Itagaki style Ninja Gaiden games. Like not this.
Yeah.
Ragebound.
There was a comment on the video. I was just thinking about like different. I was just thinking about Balatro, you know, because you mentioned Vampire Survivors, and like Balatro is a better game than Vampire Survivors, obviously. But there was a comment on the video saying like, I can't believe like you put this in there because of gambling is so rampant in the U.S. or something like that. Like I can't believe that.
Well, the thing is, like the developer has said many times he doesn't even like poker.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, it just became the theming of this, but he does not like poker. He doesn't like gambling. Encouraging gambling is not at all his goal. Like it just happens to be the theming for his game.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the existence of something in your game, movie, book, whatever, doesn't mean endorsement. It just means it's part of your creative choices.
Yeah. And obviously it was the right one.
I saw that and thought that was I didn't want to get into it, but because I haven't played the game. But the developer has been pretty explicit about like that. I think a lot of that came out because he was like kind of raising a fuss about the PEGI rating. Like it's rated like 18 plus, and he was just saying, well, that's really weird when there's like no actual gambling.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember seeing
and then you've got like these football games, these soccer games. They're like
they actually
PEGI
have like gambling, like
and have actual gambling in them.
Yeah, because they're
which I didn't know.
Because they're probably getting money from those places.
Like I don't know. Are they talking about is it loot boxes? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Mellow Gaming says, yeah, like when Court goes on about Karnov, doesn't mean he endorses it. Oh, you know what's a guilty pleasure game of mine? Amagon. Like Amagon, I think legit has interesting ideas. And it seems like it plays bad. But once you get into it, it's like, yeah. This is interesting. And it plays not that bad.
Yeah. Would you say that it's perfectly cromulent? I was like looking through like the previous episodes, and I was watching last year's games would be, and you like what was it that you call like about Metagal?
Oh,
Metagal! It's perfectly cromulent.
Yeah, Metagal and Meta. What's that? That was the Metagal and what's the other one? Metaloid Origin.
Yeah,
those games are very cromulent. They are.
Did you just like come up with that like on the spot and like, or is that something that you like kind of came back to?
I mean, you know the origin of the word, right?
The origin of the word, like
of cromulent.
I didn't realize it. No, I mean, like, is there a?
So like I think it was actually officially added to the dictionary a couple of years ago, but It was originally a Simpsons joke.
Oh.
Where like the it was just like it was literally a made up word that just means, you know, adequate, acceptable, you know, fine. But it was a made up word, but then it kind of became used and, you know, it's kind of become considered a. But I mean, that's the interesting thing about the word. Like, you were able to infer its meaning, right?
Yeah.
By the way it was used, right? That's what's funny about it, I guess, right? But anyway, like, I had just heard several people use it, like, recently, and I was just like, the word was just on my mind, and I felt compelled to use it.
How do I damage these guys?
I think
I don't know.
can they not be shooting? I forget. They are a little scary.
That's interesting because I don't really even remember. Like that's like a word that I feel like has always been around, but I didn't realize it was like a Simpsons thing. But I'm not.
Yeah. Well, see, I didn't know that either. Like I saw The Simpsons. I was never like a regular watcher, but like, except maybe during college because my roommate was really into it. So we probably watched The Simpsons most nights in college. Maybe not most nights.
Dang it.
Maybe it was just one day a week. I can't remember. And then, like, you know, my friends in Delaware watched it, so I'd watch it if I was at their house. But, you know, I've never been like a mega fan or anything, but I like it. But I don't think I knew that cromulent was a Simpsons thing either until, like, I read about, like, it being added to the dictionary or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. I had heard the word a lot recently, and I felt compelled to use it myself. I mean, it's a good word. But yeah, I would say Ninja Gaiden, barely cromulent, but so interesting and compelling it makes up for it. I think it's kind of good.
I do appreciate the slower jumps in this, like the more floatier jumps.
But this is like way easier, right? Like it's not just the infinite continues. It's just a lot easier.
I mean, I would say that it's like a really good difficulty.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's absolutely, I would say, easier than the other two games. I don't know if there's any gameplay differences between the NES and Famicom versions of the first two. But even if so, like, this is definitely the one that has the most significant differences.
Yeah. What am I doing? Come on. Come on.
I do remember this boss being one of the ones that I was least confident on.
I was also asking about the weather, and we're getting a ton of snow here. Like, my kids have to, like, they were supposed to go back to school tomorrow, and they have to anyways, but they are, they gotta do, like, NTI, like the at-home schooling tomorrow, which is, like, so stupid.
Oh. What does that even stand for?
I don't know, but we had to, like, go and get their laptops on Friday. It's been a crazy.
Oh, they don't let you keep them over break?
What?
They don't let you keep them over break?
No, they're like all at at school because they just use them at school.
Oh. Yeah, it's supposed to rain. Looks like it's going.
Come on, what's going on here?
It's going to rain a lot tomorrow. But it's not predicted to be snow.
Just had to tank them.
Tomorrow's going to have a low of 26 though, so it might end up being icy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, this is pretty far ahead, so who knows how accurate this will be, but it does look like snow is predicted for Saturday.
I mean, snow days, I don't quite understand. Like they said, oh, they could give them a snow day, but then they'd have to make it up at the end of the year. It's like, do they have like no snow day? I don't know if they have any snow days built in here.
I mean, maybe they just don't do that anymore since like...
Oh, they definitely do like in other places. I don't know why that they don't here though. I feel like they had in previous years, but they don't this year. It's like, I guess since like the video went up, it's been kind of a hectic time here. It's like I made a joke in our Discord about of like Indiana Jones like grabbing his hat in Temple of Doom just as like the wall was closing, because like my wife got COVID like right like on New Year's Eve. So like I just finished that video, my segments for the video, and she like tested positive because she's already getting sick. So it's
But no one else has gotten sick?
Nobody else has gotten sick, and she finally, it's like a faint, very faint positive today. So she should be good tomorrow.
Yeah, I was nervous because my dad started getting a bit sick the evening after Christmas, and I'm like, oh no, I do not need to be sick this week when I'm working on the games we played. That would be bad.
Well, my daughter, like the week before, like from like the 23rd through like almost New Year's, like she had pneumonia, which is like going around like big time. So lots of sickness here, and I was afraid that I was going to get sick, but I've been resilient. Like, I mean, I got my COVID and my flu shots in October, and nobody else here had gotten them yet. I mean, I made the mistake of getting them both at the same time, which is good. It's fine. But I just like felt like, I don't know. I just felt like so like nondescript for like several days.
Nondescript.
Yes.
I felt nondescript.
You know,
I like that.
It's weird because I had the fly like right after I got them, and I felt like so nondescript. And usually, like I hate flying, so I'm a little tense sometimes on there. But when I feel that way, like I just am completely loose, and like I feel like I don't care if I live or die. If I live or die, it's like such a weird feeling.
I mean, you know, like I can relate maybe in the sense that I don't know if this is a similar feeling, but like if I've had like a bad night of sleep, and you know I don't do well with bad sleep, right? Like, if there's like something that I gotta do, but I don't want to do.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about like I had a bad night of sleep last night, and like I literally don't care if I live or die right now. because you had a bad night of sleep.
Well, so like I had like I said, like I had a hard time getting like a full night of sleep. Like after that one night that I went to bed at like 5, right? Like
Yeah.
I until like yesterday actually, like I didn't quite have a full night of sleep. Which like that was like, so what I find is like when I feel how I feel after getting an incomplete night of sleep, which is poor. I feel poor. I would almost rather do something that I don't want to do than something I do want to do. Because like if there's something I'm really excited and looking forward to doing, I would rather do it when I'm feeling great. Right?
Yeah.
So like I was really excited to get back to Fantasian after finishing the games we played. But like because I didn't get a full night's sleep.
You decided to play Jack 2 instead, or decided to play Blinks. I mean, it just... It sounds kind of hilarious. We're like, man... I felt so much like garbage. I decided that might as well just finish Blinks then.
That's exactly what I did. And you know how long it took me? I no joke. I was playing Blinks the Time Sweeper for like 11 hours on New Year's Day.
Holy cow.
It took me like 11 hours to beat the last 6 levels and the last 2 bosses, plus the last level is like a boss rush and then another final boss.
I mean, like at that point, like I would be like, I'm just gonna sell this game.
But it's on my pledge list.
So if it's something's on your pledge list, you gotta beat it whether or not you like it or not.
I
guess.
You know I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
I'm stubborn. I'm very stubborn. It took so long. Like Blink, like I am not kidding. Like that is one of the hardest games I've ever played and beaten. I've beaten the NES version of Ninja Gaiden 3. I've beaten Battletoads. I've beaten Punch-Out. I've beaten some hard games, all right? And Blink the Time Sweeper
is harder than all those.
Might be harder than all of those. It is so difficult toward the end. The game is fine for like the first 3 or so worlds.
Mm-hmm.
But then it feels like I kind of would liken it to Alundra in the sense that like it starts off really cool and then after a certain point it just feels like the game developers like sole goal is to make you fail.
They got an axe to grind.
Like they would be disappointed if you found success. So they design the levels so that you have as difficult of a time as possible. The game I think is totally fine for the first 2 worlds, and I think it's interesting. I think the game is interesting, more interesting than Jack 2. But man, it gets mean. The one silver lining was, so I discovered like pretty late that not all of the stock in the different, like each world has a shop. And I thought that stock was just added to a universal shop each world.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize that each shop had different stock. So there were more retry crystal holders I could have had. And I also could have bought an upgrade that lets me hold 10 trash instead of 5 trash much sooner. That probably would have made some difference, but probably not as much as you would think, because the 2 biggest problems in the game are, one, you encounter a situation where you just cannot proceed because you don't have the right abilities on hand.
Mhm.
Like you might need either a slow or a stop or a record ability, and you just either cannot succeed without it or are extremely unlikely to succeed without it. And so you would just have to quit the level. And, you know, I eventually started just like grinding up abilities on like the first level before going into another level, because, you know, sometimes you just needed these abilities and you just could not proceed without them. The other problem was just the time. Like there's a 10-minute time limit on every level, and Blinks moves really slowly. And you run into issues where you like don't have enough trash to throw at enemies. Which the whole 10 instead of 5 might have helped with some. Because I could take trash from an earlier part of the level that would become inaccessible later, and I might have had more overall, but I actually don't think it would have made that big of a difference. And even though I had all those upgrades by the time I was doing like the boss rush and final boss, like that stuff was brutal enough as it was. What I did figure out though, if anyone is brave enough to tackle Blinks the Time Sweeper, the boss rush at the end, I kind of figured this out by accident, and you bet I exploited this. Whether it's intended or not, if you select retry level on any of the bosses, it takes you back to the start of that fight with the condition you were in at the start of the fight, rather than taking you back to the start of the boss rush. But if you run out of retries and let it go through the game over screen, you have to do the whole boss rush over. So you want to pause the game and restart level if you're not satisfied with how you're doing. I was very happy to have stumbled upon that. But man, that game was so hard.
Oh, dude, this guy's
then.
back. This enemy, the big crocodile mask guy. Like,
yeah.
Like he's like, look at him, he's up there.
He's back.
Yeah.
It was his big like. It was his like second big career moment.
Yeah. I mean, you think those things are just masks? Probably.
I don't know. There's lots of monsters in Ninja Gaiden. It doesn't have to be a mask. Oh man, what? I gotta look this up. What is Ninja Gaiden 3 script? What is the term? There's a term that's really funny in the English translation that they start using toward the end of the game.
Wait, something that they use in this?
Oh yeah, well in the English text. You're playing. Are you have Japanese text on? I think.
Yeah. The story becomes later on about the bionoids. That's right, yeah.
The bionoids.
I mean, honestly, like I appreciate that they like had to go for like, you know, we can't bring back like any of the villains from like the previous games, you know, like they knew that they played their card, but it would have been great if they had like if it started with like somebody saying like Ashtar's been defeated. It's like another big person, like a big I don't know, like another like layer to it. And,
it was connected once again.
Yeah.
But anyway,
each level kind of has like a gimmick in this, and that's kind of true for the second game too. Each area kind of has a gimmick, like the wind blowing in different directions, or like disappearing, or like you know, like it getting bright and dark, so you can see the platforms.
But anyway, yeah. So I beat Blinks after a grueling New Year's Day.
And then immediately went for more punishment in Jak 2.
Exactly, because
you didn't get a good night's sleep the night before.
Good night's sleep. But also, like,
I'm glad you can laugh about it because it sounds so, it's like so ridiculous that like that's what makes it so funny. I think it's like well, you know, I got a bad night's sleep last night. I might as well just like punish myself some more.
Well, because like I want to enjoy a game like Fantasian when I'm like feeling good, right? You know?
I guess.
Right? Like playing it. I think my perception of a good game like Fantasian is going to suffer more because I feel bad than a good game like Fantasian is to increase my mood when I feel bad. Right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm going to put off Fantasian, even though I got a good night's sleep 2 nights ago and last night. And I should be like back on my, you know, normal sleeping, I feel.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, you know, but since I already started Jak 2, I've been sticking with Jak 2. I'm gonna try to finish it, and you know, and then I'll be focused on my new video and playing Fantasian in my spare time. But yeah, so it is funny to think that, like, man, I feel like crap. I'll just play Jak 2. Which, man, I mean, it really is like just such like a like depressing and joyless game. Like, it's exactly like, man, like I originally skipped it back in the day because I was just like so disappointed with like the change in tone, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I was just like,
everybody
wow.
felt the same way. I think. I don't think.
Yeah, it was just like so unnecessary, and I was just like, well, this series is dead to me. And then, like, you know, after it had been out several years, I'm like, well, you know, I think I got a used copy or something. I was like, I'll give this a try, just because the first was so good, right? And I remember briefly playing it. I'm just like, oh yeah, this is bad. And then, you know, here we are 20 years after its release. And I'm like, I'm going to give that another chance. You know, 20 years on, I know what I'm in for. I know it's not what I wanted, but, you know, maybe I'm ready to accept this game for what it is and find the fun in it, right?
And you were left wanting.
I was left wanting. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's like, playing it is not a miserable experience as much as like the brown and gray and sullen music and it's so like, who did they think this game even is for? Because like the cutscenes like still have that very like super stretchy, very animated vibe to, like, it's very like Looney Tunes, right? It's just
I can I say really quick, I feel like the cutscenes in this, or I mean, as we call them back in the day, is the cinemas are like so boring. Like there's nothing going on in them. It's just like heads talking almost exclusively.
Yeah, it's definitely a big step down in that regard. Outside of that, though, this is the top Ninja Gaiden game by a long shot. in my opinion. But anyway, yeah. So it it's I'm constantly like mad and depressed at the game, but it's still not entirely miserable playing it. But you know, it deserved its chance. I am under the impression Jak 3 is better.
Yeah, I bet it will be. I think it mixes like the two styles.
Yeah. And I think it's more of a desert rather than like the really cramped city where it's like just a pain in the butt to drive around. Like sometimes it feels like they are like intentionally trying to make like the next quest like as far away from you as possible.
Yeah, so that you can go around the open world.
And say that you got more value out of your game because your game clock was longer.
I mean, I think the biggest problem I have is just like how like dour Jak is in the game.
Oh, yeah, I mean, everyone is except Dax, but like Daxter is like so obnoxious too. Like he really like if Daxter existed in real life, like
he wouldn't last 10 seconds. Like someone would kill him in that world for sure.
Well, I mean, not just in that world, but like if he existed in real life, like no one would like him. Like he is just like obnoxious 100% of the time and has no off switch. Like obnoxious to everyone. Like no one would like Daxter in real life. But also, yeah, in that world, like he would be like dead a long time ago. But like still, that's what I'm saying. They've got like Daxter is like all cartoony and like the animation is all stretchy and cartoony, but they're making a GTA clone. Like, who did they think that game was for? You know?
I don't. Well, they didn't know themselves. I don't think.
No. No. Like that is one of the most misguided game development things in history.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, I think. Like whether it translated to decent sales or not, I don't know. But it's crazy to me too that Jak 2. I mean, you know, it was not uncommon. It was not. It was still somewhat common, I guess, to have like annual series. But it's crazy that Jak 3 like only came out a year later.
Well, because they kind of like there was a big gap between 1 and 2, I think, though. Not a year. It's probably like maybe a year and a half, maybe
probably
2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
But you know, with 3, they just like made changes to the second one, I guess.
Yeah. I feel it is like the most 2003 video game imaginable, though. Like in a lot of ways. Here's what's funny though. I was looking up the Wikipedia article for it a day or two ago. And people reviewed it very well at the time. But this quote that Wikipedia pulled from the IGN review, which was 9.5 out of 10, which is absurd.
Really? They gave it a 9.5?
9.5 out of 10. And listen to this quote. Like, this quote is just like, whoever wrote this like has to be so embarrassed by this now.
Well, you need to tell us who wrote it then after you.
Oh, I don't. What? Let me see if I can find.
Hope it's not anybody
like
we know.
It was Doug Perry.
Okay.
Which is a familiar name. But I'm not really sure what he's up to these days. Anyway, the quote is from this 9.5 review of Jak 2. Naughty Dog weighs in with heavy guns, a dark story, and mature content. And unlike pretty much every other platformer in the world, the story here is filled with characters who you'll either love or hate. It's the story that gives this game the feeling that it's an adventure, like Indiana Jones or even Max Payne. Jack is far more likable now that he speaks. And the fact that he's pissed off and owns honking big guns weaves an unmistakable new level of emotion into the narrative. You want me to read that last bit again?
Yeah.
Because it takes a bit to sink
That's what
in.
you're going to say, honking big guns.
It's unbelievable to me. Wait, is this the Doug Perry from Shiny Entertainment? Surely not.
That's not.
Okay, let me read this last phrase again, because it's unbelievable to me that some human wrote this. The fact that he's pissed off and owns the fact that he's pissed off and owns honking big guns weaves in an unmistakable new level of emotion into the narrative. He's wording this like Jack's attitude and guns is like elevating this to a higher level
must play. It's like
of art.
Yes. I mean, it is kind of embarrassing, but I mean,
it's pretty embarrassing.
He's just collecting his paycheck at that point.
It's
right?
pretty embarrassing. It's pretty embarrassing.
That's pretty embarrassing. It does not make me want to play the game at all.
Yeah.
I thought about maybe giving it a shot, but at some point in my life, but you know what? I can think of almost like anything
the
else.
bluest we'll ever hear try. I mean, hey, I was quoting. Quoting. An unmistakable new level of emotion into the narrative.
Unmistakable. I mean, it's a new level of emotion. Can you imagine, like, really being brought to, like, holy cow, I can't believe that this is, like, so much raw emotion in Jack 2.
I took a screen, like, I took a photo of this. There's just like this little circle on the back of the box that I think is hilarious. I'm going to send it to you in Discord here.
Oh, is it like a?
It's just a
like
picture
a
on the back
point
of the
saying,
box.
like, honking big guns and a pissed off hero. That's what it should say, right?
Look at this. I just sent you in Discord. There's just this picture of Daxter with his eyes like half open, making like a really goofy, cartoony face. It's just a little circle. It just says around the circle, a deep and involving storyline.
Look at the stream.
Yeah, there you go. A deep and involving storyline. I
feel
just
like
love
that's
this.
gotta be like that can be. Next time we have somebody on that cannot be on camera, like that should be like their user icon. It should just be that.
A bad case of DreamWorks face.
Yes.
Oh man.
What does it say underneath?
Man.
You think though? It says deep involving storyline with.
Oh, hang on. Let me go grab my case.
That is ants. That's like the cover art for The Last of Us Part 3. Like that's the main character in Last of Us Part 3. Can you imagine if that's like what they did?
Okay. A deep
Can someone
and involving
swap out the character models in the PC version of Last of Us Part 2 when it comes out and put Daxter in there?
A deep and involving storyline with fully integrated gameplay. What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
I don't know. They're smoking something. It's like, oh my god, dude, let's put that on there. Like someone.
I'll read you the whole back of the box. By the way, I unsealed this.
Oh,
like I bought a used copy.
Film that the unboxing of it.
I did. I was thinking ahead. Because I had a used copy back in the day, and I'm like, well, this is bad. Got rid of it. But then, like, I got this at that Galloping Ghost.
At the swap meet.
It was like $5 sealed.
Yeah, that was like 7 years ago.
Yeah, I also got Vagrant Story for like 20 or $30.
Vargan Story.
No more. Huh?
I don't know. That's like Vagrant Story. I always feel like I would see the name, like the word vagrant, always like misspelled, and it was always like Vargant Story. That's kind of like Rouge One or Rogue Rouge Leader.
There's actually not a lot of text on the back of the box. It's mostly big pictures of Jack looking angry and Daxter looking goofy, and Jack holding a gun. Something big is about to unfold in a groundbreaking, action-packed adventure from Naughty Dog, the creators of the multi-million seller Jack and Daxter, the precursor legacy.
They're not even throwing in Crash Bandicoot there.
Yeah.
It comes a game on the level of what's the 3DO fight? Way of the Warrior.
If it was a multi-million selling game, then why did they change the tone?
You know what you should get? You should get that Lord of the Rings game that they did on the Genesis. Rings of Power. Did you know they did that? It's an EA.
All I know is
EA
like the Lord of the Rings game on Super Nintendo is like unfathomably awful.
No, well, this is Rings of Power on the Genesis. It's like a different game.
Why'd you bring that up?
It's not based on Lord of the Rings, I guess, but it's just called Rings of Power. But it is a Naughty Dog game, and it has their name on it. It's because that's when EA would credit all of the developers.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it on the box?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at that because it's weird to think of Naughty Dog logo on.
Well, it's not even a logo; it just says Naughty Dog. I always thought that.
By Naughty Dog Software. How about that?
For some reason, I always thought Way of the Warrior was their first game, but it's not. For a long time, I did, and because I felt like I read something about them making Way of the Warrior like in an apartment, and they were like recording all the moves and stuff against like a green screen or a green sheet. Tolkien didn't have the monopoly on powerful rings.
Anyway, next time you don't have a good night's sleep or otherwise don't feel well, play you some Jack 2 or game of similar caliber.
Should make a list of games to play. Games to play when you haven't had a good night's sleep.
Yep. Because that, it's... I can't entirely handle its deep and involving storyline on Poor Sleep, but I can handle wandering aimlessly around its monotonous and entirely too large city.
All right, we all caught up on. We're all caught up on Super Chats. I that's gonna do it, I think, for tonight.
Yeah.
I hope everyone has a great week. Hopefully, you're not getting buried under too much snow. I know that I will be, but that means we're gonna go sledding tomorrow.
Oh yeah. I mean, do you still get some pleasure out of a snow day? I mean, I do. It's rare.
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like I can just relax and be like super lazy on them. And there's something very unique that is like irreplaceable. I guess even for me, for having growing up with like a lot of snow days. I mean, around Buffalo, we had a lot. We'd have big snowstorms. But I mean, it's just a great feeling of just being in your pajamas and like being like, okay, we just like doing nothing and being like in a warm house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like, even though we may work from home now, and there's more things you can do for the outside world through the internet, like you might feel like you have responsibilities, but I feel like it's easier to somehow just tune that out when there's a big snowfall. It's like, it's okay to not really do anything today. It's okay. That feels good. Yeah.
And there's just something about being in a warm house and under like, even just like watching TV or watching movies or just doing whatever. Like, it's just such a nice feeling that it's one of those feelings I wish I could just like bottle up and take a little drink out of when you need a little pick me up.
Yeah, like when I called Toys R Us and they said they had Yoshi's Island.
I mean, I like one of my most memorable snow days was like we had a snow day and Electronics Boutique called and said that Mega Man X was in.
Oh.
And I just happened to have a friend whose mom was going to the mall and I was able to go with and got Mega Man X on a snow day.
Nice.
I think that's the only snow day game that I ever got. But
I remember being super upset that Yoshi's Story was delayed
because of a snow
to KB Toys because of a snowstorm. I was like so upset because I was excited.
You're punching your pillow about it.
It turned out to not be worth my hype, but I mean, sequel to Yoshi's Island. Why shouldn't I assume it's going to be amazing, right?
Yep. And now you think like, oh, I got real upset about this game. I can't believe I got real upset about this game.
I was just like, I was like so sure that like I was going to be playing it, and then they didn't have it yet, and I'm just like, I don't even know what to do with myself today for the rest of the day now. Like I was just like, what do I even do?
Replay another game or something.
I mean, I didn't have, Jack 2 yet to just, keep me company in my misery.
Yep. Tia, sorry, we're like just wrapping up. But I appreciate you dropping in, even just for the very end.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hope everyone has a wonderful week ahead of them, and we'll see you next week.
Good
night, and take care.